The mega MAGAs are a threat to democracy. If you vote Republican, you're a threat to democracy, which brings us into our second statement here of the gladiator, Peter Doocy of Fox News, questioning Karine Jean-Pierre of, hey, if you vote Republican, would that be considered going against democracy, or in other words, a threat to democracy? I think it's a great question. She doesn't think so. If you haven't already, folks, hit that like and subscribe button. It really does support the channel. With that being said, let's go ahead and roll it.
Okay.
Thank you, Karine. Following up on your comment that there's an alarming number of Republicans who are saying they're not going to accept election results, does that mean President Biden thinks it is a threat to democracy if somebody votes Republican?
No, that's a ridiculous question. No.
Why is that a ridiculous question?
Yeah, why is that a ridiculous question? I promise we'll continue here in a moment. They've been pushing for about a month or so now, probably around 6 weeks, maybe a little bit more, that Republicans are a threat to democracy, specifically MAGA Republicans. And then it was ultra MAGA. And now, as you've heard in the first segment, it's mega MAGA Republicans are a threat to democracy just because we question the integrity of the election. God forbid we ask questions around here. Joe Biden won. I'm sorry, folks, if you don't like it. He is our president. He won. Was there problems with it? Yes. Looking at the statistics, looking at all the data that was given, folks, I hate to say it, it's not enough to swing the election. Everything that was said before of, oh, we have this huge idea of all these, documents and, all this information and, release the Kraken is what they said. It just wasn't there. Did I want it to be there? Absolutely. Did I want Trump to win? Yes. It just wasn't there, and you got to come to terms with it. It doesn't mean there wasn't things wrong. It doesn't mean that we need to clean up our elections. Doesn't mean there wasn't some sort of ballot harvesting, which did come out. People were being paid for it. There were things that were wrong. But the problem is that if you just question it, you're a threat to democracy. But she's going to push all this stuff. Somebody that wrote a tweet herself questioning the integrity of the election. You got Hillary Clinton doing the same thing. You got Kamala Harris doing the same thing. But she's going to push this whole thing and blame Republicans for everything. It's really unbelievable. And then she can't fathom, like, oh, yeah, that's a dumb question, virtually. That's a ridiculous question. Well, explain why, Karine. Explain.
Because American people should have their right to vote for whomever they want. The voting is a sacred right. It is something that the president wants to protect at every turn, and he has done that. He's taken actions to protect the right to vote, and you see Democrats in Congress also doing the work to protect the right to vote. We are talking about mega MAGA Republican officials who have been very clear about this, who say they are pro-police, but then they are also pro-insurrectionists. That is, you cannot be pro.
Who the hell is pro-insurrection? Honest to God, I mean this, folks. Put names in the comments down below. Which Republican is pro-insurrection? And send a clip to me letting me know, or them being cited in an article with a quote saying, I am pro-insurrection. Hand to God, I don't know one. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but she's going to stand on the podium as if all MAGA Republicans or mega MAGA, ultra MAGA, whatever the hell you want to call everybody, Republicans or conservatives that work for the insurrection. How many times, for the love of God, do we got to say on the show that we don't like what took place? They're a bunch of idiots that ran in there. We don't want them a part of the Republican Party. They deserve what's getting or gotten to them, whatever the hell you want to call it. We're not for it, lady. Get it through your head. I don't know any Bald Bradshaw viewers that are for it. And if you are, let me know. Because I'm not into that. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not. I don't like what they did. It wasn't a good look. If you want to sit there and protest peacefully outside, I'm all for that. You going in and destroying property? What the hell? Why would you think that's okay? Why would you think going into somebody's office and standing on it and doing all these pictures, why would you think that's an okay thing to do? It's stupid is what it was. And now we're being shellacked constantly because you got some idiots that want to go storm the Capitol and act like a bunch of knuckleheads. And now we all got to sit there and take the backlash for it, which isn't a thing that you should be doing in the first place. So no, lady, we aren't for it. And I think we've said enough about that, but they're going to continue to push it. That's why you can't screw up in politics, because they'll never let the end of it. They will never let us down in terms of bringing this up for freaking however else, how long they want to push it here through the midterms, and hell, they'll bring it up in the next election too.
Police and be pro-insurrectionists who also say they want to defund the FBI. That's a problem. That is a.
I'm actually not against defunding the FBI after everything that's come out, the shady business that's going on. I actually don't think we need to defund them, Karine. I think we should abolish the FBI. There's good people in the FBI. There's very good people in the FBI. We could send them to other places so they can keep their job, get rid of the bad, and keep the good. There's nothing wrong with that. Hell, drain the swamp, get rid of the FBI. We're all tired of their shenanigans. Get rid of the IRS too if you could. I think Democrat, Republican, we actually get all behind that one. But no, the FBI, I'm sorry. It's everything that's come out about them, it needs to be gone. So I'm not talking about defunding. I'm talking about getting rid of it.
a problem that we are seeing, and who I've said have been very clear that they have been very clear about pushing and peddling the big lie, peddling dangerous conspiracy theory. And so that's what we're talking about. But the American people have their right to make a decision on who they want to represent them, and they should be allowed to do so.
Okay. In the context of calling out election deniers, then, is he going to call out Republicans that deny election results and Democrats that deny election results?
It doesn't matter if there's a D or an R after your name. He will call out any rhetoric that is that leads to potentially political violence, or that calls to political violence, for political violence. That is a problem. The president has always condemned political violence. It doesn't matter, again, if you're a Republican, an independent, or a Democrat.
So President
Ooh, whoa, time out. She answered a part of a question, you guys. Oh my God. Holy crap, a part of a question, not the whole thing. Because we're talking about the integrity of the election. Yes, we are talking about, political violence and all that. But let's call out both Republicans and Democrats that are for going against the election, okay? Not just Republicans, which is what they've been doing. And look, if you want to question or go against it, I think it's your right. I think it's your right to sit there and ask questions. I think you're right going like, hey, you know what? There's a lot of shady stuff going on. Let's ask questions. I think it was a little bit fraudulent of some things that took place. There's nothing wrong with that. But the thing is, they don't call out Democrats. They don't sit there and call out their own party. I'll call out the Republican Party for certain things. I've said it on here on the show. I don't care who the hell you're with. If it's stupid, it's stupid. If it's my opinion, I think it's stupid. I'm going to say it's my opinion and it's stupid. So whatever it may be, she sat there and spun it just a little bit there to talk about political violence, which I'm glad she did say, regardless if it's Republican or Democrat, regardless of what's after your name, if it's wrong, it's wrong. I do like that answer from her.
Biden thinks democracy can survive even if Democrats are not in charge of Congress.
The president is optimistic. He is an optimistic, you know this, Peter. He's an optimistic person. And he understands there is majority of the Americans out there who do not believe in election and denying an election, who believe in actually protecting our democracy. There are a majority of Americans who believe in strengthening our democracy, and that's what we see. But the president, as the president of the United States, he believes it is his duty, is his responsibility to call out this rhetoric, and that's what he's going to continue to do. Go ahead.
Thanks, Karine.
Call out this rhetoric, ultra MAGA, mega MAGA, whatever. They're a threat to democracy, and this is what they do. They're walking this fine line, and I'm actually appreciative of that. Her answering a little bit of Peter Doocy's questions a little bit more clear than what she's done in the past. You got to give credit where credit's due, folks. We bash her literally every week for not answering questions. So when she does do something, we got to call it out and play a little bit of an even ball game here. But that's what they're going to do. They're going to push and walk this fine line of like, well, vote for whoever you want, do whatever you're going to do. You have that right to vote Democrat or Republican, but hey, just be aware that Republicans are conspiracy theorists. They're mega MAGA Republicans, ultra MAGA. We did call them a threat to democracy. So, they don't want to sit there and accept the election results, and we're against that, and they're all for Paul Pelosi getting hurt, which we're not, but that's the narrative they're going to push. All these things, but, hey, after all those bad things I just said about Republicans, just vote for whoever you want. Yeah, just vote. Just throw it in the ballot. So that's what they're going to do the rest of the next week and a half or so about Republicans. They're going to blame them for everything, blame them for getting rid of or wanting to get rid of the Inflation Reduction Act. They want to sit there and abolish the FBI or at least defund them. They're pro-insurrection, which is an odd thing to say. Again, I don't know anybody that's pro-insurrection. I haven't heard a single Republican even say that. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I just haven't heard it. But that's what they're going to push, folks. I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Bald Brad Show. If you did, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all our future content.